Every single day, over 5 million New Yorkers use the subway system, and it has a reported annual ridership of over 1.7 billion. So it's no exaggeration to say that ever since its opening on October the 27th, 1914, it has become one of the biggest transit systems in the entirety of the United States. The track lines are extensive. In fact, should you lay the tunnels in a straight line, they could reach from New York City to Chicago underground. This profound project has been centuries in the making, and it doesn't just start with the subways. Today, we discover the story of New York's iconic subway system. Much of the construction can be attributed to an Irish immigrant named John McDonald. McDonald was born in Cork in 1844, though at the age of just 4 years old, he immigrated to the United States, fleeing the 1845 Irish famine. His first experience in New York's booming construction business was the Boyd Corners Reservoir. Even though he had very little to no experience in the field, McDonald was an incredibly quick learner. He amazed those on the site with him with his aptitude for work, and it wasn't long until his great efforts bore fruit. In 1874, he was named the Inspector of Masonry for the New York Central's 4th Avenue Tunnel. McDonald soon became a superstar in New York's construction industry. He was in high demand and put on countless additional projects towards the end of the 1800s. McDonald later became an independent contractor, and he was hired in 1889 to build the Howard Street Tunnel for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. His project was so successful that he found himself in the good graces of Tammany Hall, which essentially ran New York City at the time. Thanks to this strong prominence, McDonald was able to win a bid for the city's very first subway line. The 1894 Rapid Transit Act ordered builders statewide to construct rapid transportation systems for cities with over 1 million inhabitants, laying the framework for New York City's incredible subway system. However, McDonald almost lost that bid. Originally, he bid $35 million, which was worth about $1 billion in today's economy. His rival, Andrew Underdong, bid $39 million and was close to winning, but at the last moment, he wasn't able to post the required $5 million in security bonds. Hence, the project defaulted to the second-placed bidder, and McDonald was promptly contracted by the Interborough Rapid Transit Company and given 4 years to build what could easily be one of the most difficult projects in all of New York City history. To construct the massive system, McDonald used the cut and cover technique, a highly destructive but ultimately effective way of building. At night, dynamite would be used to blast the streets, and during the day, large crews would clear away the rubble. After the rubble was cleared, workers would build the tunnel, and after the tunnel was built, it would be covered up with rubble and dirt and then paved. This kind of work was incredibly dangerous. Over the course of 4 years, a total of 16 workers lost their lives during the construction. The subway system was opened on October of 1904, and on its very first day, around 150,000 people took a ride for a fare of 5 cents. Even though McDonald later referred to the job as quote-unquote nothing more than building a string of cellars end to end, there's no question that the subway system left a lasting impact on the city that can be seen every single day with its 36 lines and full length of 850 miles. One inevitability of a system this old and this vast is that with time, some of the lines and stations were abandoned. By far, one of the most notable, if not tragic, cases of abandoned subway stations is the decommissioned City Hall station. It was truly a marvel of architecture with vaulted ceilings, colored glass tiles, large chandeliers, and skylights. Despite its beauty, however, it was one of the least used stops in the entire system. Out of all the other stations that had turnstiles installed by 1923, the City Hall station was not one of them. On top of this, it also had the nearby Brooklyn Bridge stop, which was far more popular as it was both closer to the connecting streetcars and visited more often by the express train. The The curved platform the station had was also an issue. This curvature meant that no cars with center doors could be used at any point in the station unless they had specific door controls to open the doors. Furthermore, there was a lack of convenience for the commuters who passed these gates. Some who boarded at City Hall intended to go either to Brooklyn or below City Hall, and they'd find themselves on the uptown platform at the Brooklyn Bridge station. They then had to go upstairs and back down again to the downtown platform to continue on their way. And in a time where commuters wanted to get from point A to B as fast as possible, they often chose to just walk the far shorter distance at street level to the Brooklyn Bridge station. In 1945, the station was officially closed, abandoned, and forgotten ever since. Today, it's impossible to access this stunning station, but you can admire it in passing if you stay on the train as it loops back around the tracks. In addition to this, the New York City Transit Museum occasionally hosts tours of the station for its members. The Worth Station, named after General William Jenkins Worth, was closed in 1962. As the Brooklyn Bridge station gradually expanded due to its proximity, it didn't take long for this station to become obsolete. Sadly, much of its tiling and terracotta have been defaced by graffiti, and it sits as a shell of what it once was. Other stations faced a similar fate. 91st Street subway station, which closed in 1959, was a 6-track station belonging to the IND line that never opened and remained unused. It lies underground at South 4th Street, and with its fragmented structure, unbuilt stairwell, and lack of rail tracks and through tunnels, some might say it was more akin to a ghost station. It never saw any traffic at all. It was built with the intention of being a transfer and connection point for the IND second system, and those behind it were incredibly ambitious, or perhaps audacious, seeing as the shell was built before it was even determined whether or not the city could fund the project. In 2010, a project by the street artist Pack and Workhorse called the Underbelly Project led 100 street artists to the premise to paint the walls of the abandoned station with the goal of creating an underground art gallery. This project later ended up being replicated in Paris.